Something that you have to do, folks, if you are getting a loan these days is get a second look, a second opinion. I'm hearing more and more folks who unfortunately are dealing with operators who overpromise and underdeliver. In addition to that, it is great to work with a company who is always adding features to loan products. One of those companies is, of course, Convoy Home Loans, our Thursday guest. We've got Jonathan with us. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Let me just say thank you for being a part of One Rental at a Time. I really love what you and Dustin are doing. You seem to always be adding features to products that really serve the marketplace. Recently, you rolled out a new feature to one of your 6-month ARM products. Why don't we talk about what that is?
Yeah, so obviously, again, we've talked about 6 months arm in the 6 month arms in the past. You're not a huge fan, but
But
they're
they do,
but
but
for
they do have their place. I will agree.
exactly. They do have their place because obviously rates are lower. I think it's as low as like 5.3 on a primary, 5.6 on an investment. So it's like it's very low. It's fixed for 6 months, and it's for the client that is betting on the market to go down as it
Mhm.
as continues. It follows the SOFR index, the single overnight financing rate, but the extra feature that we have added on now is now that the clients before the clients were like, okay, well, what if the rates drop below like what happened 2 years ago where the SOFR dropped, really, really low? What is going to happen then?
Mm.
And before we used to tell clients, hey, the floor is what you're starting at. So if you started at 5.6, that's your floor.
Ah, got it.
Now we've basically unlocked a new situation where it actually floats down with the market. So now you're able to, if the SOFR index hits zero and you're betting that the market is going to, tank, right? Then you can play the market a little bit.
Hmm.
If it tanks, then you have as low as what could be like a 3%
Oh,
on an
wow.
investment property. Now, that makes a lot of sense for clients again in this market because the market's not expected to move as much as other markets right now in terms of on the upside. So
Right.
your upside risk is a little lower. Not saying there is no upside risk, but it
Oh,
is
for sure.
lower
Yeah.
than most markets where now we're expecting rates to go down and trend down. Not saying it's going to go down, but trend down. And this is going to allow for a lot of clients to be able to capitalize on cash flow and kind of play the market a little bit, gamble a little bit. But at worst case scenario, let's say the market starts flipping the other way. The worst case is the rate goes up slightly. You're back at where the market is
Right.
essentially, and you can fix into a 30-year fix at any time because there's no prepay. So you're not in a rock and a hard place. You're playing the market a little bit, but at the same time, you're getting the benefit of a lower payment, lower rate, and be able to cash flow better for at least a year prior
Mhm.
to jumping into a different 30-year fixed program.
Yeah. Again, I think, again, my opinion on arms are long documented. I'm a buy and hold, plan to hold forever guy. So they really don't fit. But I'm frankly an oddball. There are a lot of people in the real estate industry that have short-term plans, value add plans, where maybe this kind of function works. And what I love about what you and Dustin do at Convoy is you take client calls, emails, whatever, and you kind of ask questions. What I like about you is you don't try to slam people into one option. I hear all the time from One Rental at a Time fans that use Convoy that like Dustin and Jonathan talk to me. I see these
Yeah.
guys on your channel and like they're actually talking to me, so they feel kind of cool about that.
Yeah.
And you guys are asking questions, so thank you for that.
Thank
Um,
you.
let's talk about second opinions. I come at this idea because there are a lot of call centers in your business
Hmm.
that are selling refis, streamlines, and it's not always the right answer. And we're seeing it in the numbers, right? There was a time where the effective mortgage rate was 3.6%. I think now it's at like 3.9 or maybe even 4%. What does that mean? Yeah, sure, more mortgages are being written at higher rates, but it also means some people are losing low rates. How important is it today to get kind of second opinions?
I think it's extremely important, just because a lot of lenders and brokers that you talk to, if they don't have both non-QM and QM options, they're going to push you in the way that they feel that they can make the most benefit. Meaning that if it's like, for example, the biggest shop on the block, right, that has all the stadiums and all the ads, if they want to push you towards conventional, they're going to push you towards conventional or FHA or whatever to cash out. I hear that all the time. Instead
Mhm.
of potentially doing, like, let's say maybe a DSCR second, right, which is a product that they don't offer, and then they are
Correct.
still able to tap into the equity while not having to sacrifice getting rid of their 2.5%, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you have to be able to talk to people that have both options of both QM and non-QM and do both well, because we are getting so many calls from clients, not just one rental at a time, but just like clients in general that are like, hey, I work with this broker for years, and he just qualified me into conventional, said I can do it, and then it turns out I can't do it. Right?
Mhm.
I'm close of escrow is like 2 weeks away. Like, I can't really get it done. Can you help me? And I'm like, well, you told me basically that you don't want to work with me at the beginning because I told you that this would happen. You're like, no, I'm going to go with the lower rate. I'm like,
Mm.
well, I don't think you'll necessarily qualify. But they're like, no, no, they said I can do it. So I'm like, okay, go ahead. They go and they come back 2 weeks left in escrow, and they're like, hey, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? At that point, I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I'm
I don't know.
stuck in a rock and a hard place, and I'm getting all the pressure from everybody. I'm like, hey, just, one, you should have, listened to us in the first place, and gotten that second opinion. But in the second hand, like, hey, now we have to do a loan that might not be what you want anymore because we have time crunches.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, make sure that you're actually speaking to people and getting opinions from people that have multitude of options, because if they don't have those options, they're only going to push you in the direction of the options they do have.
Yeah. I think there's a
Yeah.
couple of things you said that I want to reiterate. These large institutions with all the arenas and all of that, they're just call centers pushing whatever they're bonused on that week, that month. They don't have your best interest in mind. You've got to, and second, you've got to work with somebody who has multiple options. Because maybe conventional's right, maybe a streamline's right, maybe a DSCR loan, maybe non-QM, maybe a second, maybe a cash out refi first. Who knows? Real estate is so deal and individual specific. If you don't take the time to ask questions or listen, the chances of getting the wrong product are high. And getting the wrong product on a mortgage could mean you're paying tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars too much in interest. It could mean you're signing up for a prepay when you don't have to have one. It's mortgage has been twisted and turned because of this approve eligible into this call center function when it really is a relationship business. And the reason I love having Convoy here is because, again, you and or Dustin speak to one rental at a time, folks. So again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I appreciate that. Any closing thoughts, or where can people find you?
Yeah. If you want to find us, go to convoyhomeloans.com and let us know you came from more at. But closing thought is, a lot of clients sometimes they get pissed off and upset because they're like, hey, why don't you just tell me the rate? Right? Because because Dustin and I ask them questions, and they're like,
Yeah,
hey, I already went through all these questions. I already answered this a million times. Just tell me the rate. I'm like, and my
that's
main
not
thing
how it
is this.
works.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
not
like,
how it
hey,
works.
like, there's a lot of rates. Rates are everywhere. You can go Google, search up rates, but
Yeah,
what really is important is each individual investment real estate is its own business.
yeah,
So it's not a one size fits all into the business. You wouldn't go, get a 20%, line of credit for a one size fits all type situation. You want each individual business to have its own operating, account. So
correct.
let's make sure that I'm asking the right questions so that we can get to the actual resolution of what it's supposed to be, what's best for you, what's best for that property. So yeah, go to convoyhomeloans.com. Let us know you came from more at, but we love being here. Thank you so much for having.
Yeah, and again, folks, if you don't know, both Dustin and Jonathan, I believe both of you will be in Vegas. Is that right?
Yes, we will.
Yeah, I think we both will. Yes, we will.
Yep.
All right. I look forward to that, man. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.